how we can start to give some step to build this unity between men and women based on all the things that you know today.
I would implore any man, any woman in a position of authority, please go and look at the father wound. Go look at your wounded masculine. Please. There's no shame, there's no fear. It's the most powerful strength anyone can ever show. The real deep strength in a human is to say, I need to liberate myself from the suffering, because my suffering I'm projecting onto the world, either in silence or in action. The father wound and the mother wound, the masculine and the feminine, there's no real discrimination or difference between which wound is more wounding or has wounded the person. Difference. But for sure, when you become an adult, the father wound is more prevalent and more
So
detrimental.
please grab a cup of coffee or tea, get comfortable, and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
So, welcome one more time to another episode of the Brilliant Branded podcast. And today I have an amazing guest, as you can see. Happened that we end up wearing the same or similar color without planning. It was not part of a plan. But basically, that means probably the invisible connections that you do with people sometimes, is I firmly believe in these kind of things. And I am just going to let us, to our audience, know more or less who you are and the reasons why you are here. And as of course, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but what caught my attention is you're a coach specialized in somatic coaching. I'm bringing different tools and topics that really make a difference, especially based on the masculinity. One of the key topics in the Brilliantly Branded podcast is women empowerment. Through the lens of branding, we are going to talk about that as well. But mainly, what I have been saying is women empowerment is not just about women. So, and this is part of the topics that we are going to touch today. So, how we get this unity, how the masculinity is important, how all this balance. So, I am not going to continue giving more like just on me. I said, welcome, Lindsay, to the Brilliant Branded podcast. And my first question always is, could you introduce yourself, please?
Maria, thank you so much for this opportunity. I will start off just to set the foundation, because foundation is very important. I am very much about women empowerment. But as we will discover as we go through this journey together, the misunderstanding that we need to clear up or bring some awareness to. But I work with a lot of women from different levels of society, from teenagers to high flying women so I'm very much, and as I spoke earlier, being a father of 3 little girls, it is very passionate for me that there's a healthy feminine. And so this is my mission too. So me, good day, everybody. Lindsay Whitby, Zimbabwe, now loving life and serving in Luxembourg. Father of 3 daughters. I'm a single father of 2. I used to work in aviation for 22 years. So I came from a very, I would say, wounded masculine, because it's hyper masculine. And it triggers a lot of insecurities. And I see how I operated from the wounded masculine for so many years. My coaching journey came up in the late 2017. And I would not call me a coach per se, because my methodology, my connection, my technique is more on the healing.
So you will call yourself a healer?
I'm very cautious about words, Marie. I'm very cautious. I don't know if it, because why it's important for me is the coaching name has been stigmatized a little bit. It's been flooded. The industry's flooded. There's a dissonance with coaches now, because everyone, and good luck to them. I love that everyone is serving, but it's been watered down. And so I don't believe I'm a coach per se, because I see it in my work. In the last 6 years, maybe, I've worked with nearly 200 people. And so for me, coming from a mechanical world into this soft skills, strength world, is more strength to develop soft skills than not. the transformation is not a coaching thing. It's not the questions, not the listening. It's the feeling. It's the spiritual intelligence, which we will get to in a minute.
And I love what you say, because titles are something that we are used to put to people. And, in my journey as well of transformation, helping people doing and building their brand, title is one thing, but the other thing is how are you making feel people and what is the value that you are delivering. That is part of the thing
I love it. I love
that
it.
we need to work
I
on,
love it.
right?
I love it. And we know this from like the medical field, right? That doctors have a stigma against diagnosing people because the title, the label, the diagnosis actually feeds the energetic, somatic embodiment of that thing. So the obsession with titles ends up feeding the ego, and there your service becomes less because we're more interested in the CPCC and the PCC and all these titles that got a very, very subtle but strong egocentric driven energy behind it. And that can disillusion people, especially people of influence. My belief.
Yeah, I love as well, when we use those terms because we are familiarized with that. So disconnection, somatic, ACC, PCC, for us that are coaches, we already know what is that. And it's actually these letters and things that we put it next to the skills that we have been working on. And that is okay. But my point, you name disconnection. And I will love you to share with us how that this connection in your life moment become, and what did you make to really do something related with that, to fix it or to do something.
Okay, so lovely question. So one of my methodologies in the work I do, coaching, healing, whatever it is called self-integration. So what I discovered in my journey, never mind through the people I've been grateful to work with and fortunate, is from childhood, there's a disconnection from the authentic self, from the spiritual intelligence, due to, not to blame, but due to parents' conditioning, societal conditioning, educational conditioning, and this compartmentalization of the self causes a huge disconnect from the self. And then we go to live in the head. We believe that to be successful means having the car, means having the house or the letters in your title. And when you're disconnected this way, you're more susceptible to illness, you're more susceptible to manipulation, you're easily triggered by fear, which we see in our current society. And my coming home, my integration work started in 2017. I believe it's a journey for all of us from childhood to find this. The soul, the intelligence is always looking for the path of least resistance, because that's the love, right? Where the healing comes. And so when my first daughter, Sophia, came, it was very transformative for me. There was something that shifted in me as a man, serving the world, showing up in the world. That something woke up inside that says there's too much. I was using alcohol to escape. I was using feminine affection to escape. There's nothing like a woman's love to fill a void inside. But if you're filling a void from outside, you can never get enough of it, right? And I end up hurting people due to my hurt. For that, I'm doing some healing. But I see it in the masculine wounding that when we are disconnected from self, we will try to fill that fear, that pain, that suffering through whatever means possible. And in doing so, we create even more destruction. Did that answer your question okay?
Yeah, you did it. And thank you for sharing that, because I think it's a very personal side from your journey.
It's hard to say, but I need to be honest. I'm working on authenticity, and it's my story. And there's people that will hear this, that will know me, that will have experience with me in the good and empowering way, and in the way where they look at me and think, you were 30 years old and you weren't honest with me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I wasn't connected to self. I had insecurities. I had low self-esteem. And the worst thing about my type of masculinity, I had the body, I had the career, I was very sporty. I was always the striker, scoring, hoping to score the winning goal. So I was feeding my ego. So I masked the pain very well. I had good bandages.
Oh, this is a lot of layers. This is start to be like an onion.
Okay. I want to bring awareness to people who watch, like especially the people in influential roles. That if we're influencing anybody and you are not good, your influence is nullified. I'm speaking in absolutes because it's very important that we speak to power.
Yeah.
That if I'm trying to serve you as a coach, as a healer, as your boss, as your leader, and I'm not connected to self, I will corrupt you. You'll have to fight very hard to not be influenced by my energy. And we see it in societies, we see it in organizations. We do all these leadership courses, and I've done so many in Cargolax in my past, and nothing changes here. So you get the intelligence here, but you go back to your department, you go back to the people you work with, and this still rules the world. Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all the intelligence here, you see it, and a lot of the leaders that need it don't even do it. And then the ones that do it don't really have the influence. But even so, once they go back with all the great leadership knowledge, and there's so many schools of leadership, and I love it, and I think it's got some benefit. But if this, Maria, is not healed, you lead from here. You don't lead from here.
If I understood well, this is what you call a spiritual intelligence for all those people that don't know what exactly that means. Because when you are disconnected, and this is not from the judgment point of view, but for the be aware about what is happening into yourself, when you go and do many courses and leadership courses, as you mentioned, and do many things to try to fix something, but you are not really connected with your inner self. So my question is, this is what we call a spiritual intelligence?
Absolutely. It's that intelligence, Maria, that you cut your hand, right? You don't have to use your intelligence from school, from high school to say, please fix yourself. Yes, of course, if it's extreme, you go to the doctor, you get treatment, right? But there's an intelligence that says, oh, there's a cut, antibodies, white blood cells. You don't have to tell it. By the way, don't forget to put white blood cells on that cut I had this morning, right? There's that thing, every 7 years, our cells are renewing. So every 7 years, there's a new version of you. And this thing is doing its work without our mind saying, by the way, don't forget to grow my nails. By the way, don't forget to grow my hair, right? We don't take charge of it. It's doing this work and it's always asking for liberation from the suffering. And our times, we are suffering more than we're dealing with the suffering. And so we project our suffering into our work, into our relationships. And that intelligence is saying, I don't want this. And it manifests as dysfunction in relationship. It manifests as poor leadership, no matter how much intelligence you have. And it manifests in illness, in unwellness, right? Addiction,
Coping mechanisms.
Yeah. We're living at a time of escapism. And the more we escape, the more we disconnect, the more we have this divide, how we connected, this divide between you and me, between feminine and masculine, between man and woman. I am not a fan of it. I need you, you need me. We always have. But if you keep that fear, that suffering, that I'm bad and you're better and you need to, patriarchy, whatever they use now, then we create suffering in you. And then you have a boogeyman enemy in me, and we never realize it's in you because there's something in me that's going to bring awareness to that intelligence in you.
Yeah, that only creates resentment.
And you see it. Yeah. This was my thing about the women empowerment. Again, big fan. Father of 3 daughters. I'm a good father. Maybe I'm not good in relationship. Maybe I'm still learning to be a good healer. Maybe I'm still learning to be a good citizen. But as a father, it's the only thing I can really say I give my heart and my attention to fully 100%. So I'm very much about women empowerment. But I see the divide between the women and the men.
Yeah,
and I don't know what that's doing for longevity, right? We have a teething problem. If we don't fix it now, by the time the teeth are rotting, we're going to need a lot of surgery.
Yeah. The thing is probably about the concept of women empowerment, because some people have been coming like, you're working in women empowerment. And I always do the clarification. This is not a feminist movement. I am working to try to build this unity as well. I know that you have the same concept.
Yes.
And one of the questions that I want to do to you is, when you grow up as a man, this masculinity, because you have been talking about that as well. What are those beliefs that you as a man have been growing up that have been already in certain way to be aware of, to work on that?
Oh my God, I love these questions. I'm so glad we got a 5-hour podcast, right? I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Let me dive in and make it as brief as possible, because I know we got a lot to cover. So here's a big one, right? And to bring awareness, I love my father dearly. I see my father more than I ever have in me, even though for most of my life I had resistance because of the emotional unavailability in my father. My father was a really loving man, highly successful, highly caring in our community, very kind, and he gave us a very good upbringing. But what was missing was this thing I'm talking about, this spiritual intelligence, this connection from the depths. And so I grew up believing that my sensitivity, which I'm highly sensitive, was something to be ashamed about. So I had to suppress it. I had to suppress it. This is why I became hypermasculine. I chose a hypermasculine industry to work in. I developed a very strong body to protect my vulnerabilities, which helped me through life because I didn't get into addictions. I was never addicted to anything per se, maybe addicted to the self-harming thoughts that I used to have. So the masculinity I see still going, maybe being even growing, is this thing of it's not okay to be a man. A man has to serve. If you're not serving, there's something wrong with you. And then you get judged because when you can't serve, there's a reason why you can't serve. There's a wounding, there's a pain, there's a sufferance. And once we judge something, any possibility for healing is reduced. The minute I say you are a problem, solve it, that judgment that came first is going to remind you of something that you already harboring from a long time ago. So my version of masculinity was never show emotion, never taught how to regulate emotion. I couldn't regulate my emotions. And that made me suffer so much. I was either in loving, humble, serving mode, or I was in scream, shout, because I couldn't regulate that, the love and then the fear. There was no like, okay, Maria's insulted me. Okay, what is it do you want to talk about it? I was not able to. And I see it with a lot of men. We're taught to push it down. And what's also happening is we're teaching men to have the soft skills, which is great, but at a time when it's too late. Because by the time a woman's in her 30s and 40s, so here's a little bit of the spirituality behind it quickly. When a woman is young, she's very vulnerable, as a woman is, right? She hasn't balanced her masculinity yet. When a man is young, he's hypermasculine. He hasn't learned to be with his femininity. We're looking for balance the masculine and the feminine. As we get older, women become stronger physically, successfully, experientially. You don't need your masculine comes up to match your feminine. You don't need the man to be too emotive. And when I get into my 40s, now I start doing the soft skills and working. Let me feel, let me hear what you say. By then you're like, I don't need you now. I needed you then. I don't need you now. And this is where the divide is coming. And the men aren't allowed to be men because they're taught be emotive, show your feelings. And it's great, but at the dismissal of the masculine. So we become hyper feminine. Yeah. And a woman doesn't want a hyper feminine man. Yeah. And it causes a lot of shame in us when we're hyper feminine. And society is asking men to be softer, which is good. Asking men to be quieter, submissive. Women, we don't need men. Like, okay, so what is our role in life? Where do we belong now? And then we get lost. Yeah. And the world is missing a very healthy masculine in the woman and in the man. I'll always distinguish that. This is not about men, because it's the masculine in the women, and the healthy masculine in a woman is very powerful. Yeah. A healthy masculine is super strong, but the balance is missing. Did I make any sense with that?
Well, the healthy masculine is something that I'm very curious about, because I am supported by my husband, that is a man that has a very strong masculinity. And even though that, I think he's balancing. He grew up in with women, the sisters and the mother, and probably he developed since very young this balance, and probably that he knows how to manage me. That is very important thing. But I am wondering why it's so difficult for men in general to express their emotions.
Just to emphasize, I met you with Philippe and your synergy is amazing. The balance, I told you, occupational hazard, I profiled you guys. I'm sorry, I can't switch it off, but it's so beautiful to see
Thank you.
Okay. Maria, to be honest, the thing that men are struggling with the most in my perception, the men I work with more than ever, is shame. we are struggling with shame. We don't know how to transmute shame. We don't know how to be with shame. And the minute we go into organizations, into roles of leadership, and that shame is there, we will be corrupt. We will be corrupt. And it's shame that is hurting men most. And then we project that onto women, our kids, our colleagues. And it's the shame in a masculine that is really corrosive. So,
Well, this no is it's a not very nice truth to hear, especially from a man, and what is happening outside. How people have been coming to you to asking for help. How many men really take the courage? And I say the courage because this is not something that you just can realize. Oh yes, I'm having some troubles. No, you as a man, and I have been seeing. I need to be the strongest one. I need to be the provider. And I need to be many things that when you see that a woman is stronger than you, that intimidate you is my question. And
does it intimidate you? Is it you asking?
yeah,
I would say when that shame is there, when you're in your wounded masculine, and a strong woman would intimidate you. And this is where the clash in cooperation comes,
yeah,
right? A woman who is strong, she's finding herself, she's finding her power to that. And a wounded man will fight that because it'll evoke a lot of his shame.
yeah. It's a reality.
No, it's a reality.
It's a
If we
reality.
don't speak the truth, we don't create awareness, and then we don't bring compassion. So my journey is compassion. Understanding with compassion brings healing. If you don't understand something, you're going to feel threatened by it, you're going to fight it, right? So when you understand that, okay, I'm a CEO as a woman, and Lindsay is also a CEO in a different department, we're having a clash. If we can see the other one's pain and suffering, we bring a different energy towards the dynamic. It's not to excuse bad behavior. It's not to excuse mobbing. I've been mobbed. It's not a nice thing. It's not to excuse or condone. It's to bring understanding and compassion. And I see it in my work. The minute you can connect with someone and say, I understand you, I see you, you allow them to express a deeper authenticity that says, I'm sorry, I apologize, I need to go work on myself. You open a door to the heart, to the spiritual intelligence that allows them to go change something that's affecting them. But the minute I judge you, I judge a man, I judge a woman, you can see it, right? Yeah. The minute I say you're a bad colleague, I'm going to fix you, I'm going to mob you, you cause more suffering, more disconnection, and we create more chaos in the workplace and in life.
Yeah, and what we have been realizing, I have been part. I was part of the corporate world as well, and having many situations that made me realize sometimes how difficult was to cope in with my colleagues in a male-dominated industry, for example. And I know that many of our listeners are part of the still male-dominated industries, and this is part of my support to women in order to try to build this unity, that you are talking and advocating for unity. So I would love to hear from you how we can start to give some step to build this unity between men and women based on all the things that you know today.
I'm suppressing the coach instinct to me because I want to ask you questions. Like, no, Lindsay, it's not about you. It's not about Maria. Just give it a minute. Have some time.
The questions,
Okay.
it's not a problem. But
I'm so curious. I'm so curious. Maria, I really, 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 and as I evolve, as I heal, I'm doing a lot of work on me. Maybe that's my one addiction is evolution of the self. I would implore any man, any woman in a position of authority, please go and look at the father wound. Go look at your wounded masculine. Please. There's no shame. There's no fear. It's the most powerful strength anyone can ever show. The real deep strength in a human is to say, I need to liberate myself from the suffering because my suffering I'm projecting onto the world, either in silence or in action.
I have a question. I'm sorry that
Did you just put your hand up on your podcast?
Yes. That is actually, you are talking about the father wounds.
Yes.
You are talking these father wounds
Yes.
from the masculine and the feminine. I mean, from our men and women.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we act in certain ways.
Yes.
Okay.
So here quickly. So the father wound and the mother wound, the masculine and the feminine, there's no real discrimination or difference between which wound is more wounding or has wounded the person. There's no real difference. But for sure, when you become an adult, the father wound is more prevalent and more detrimental. Because it's the father wound that allows for strength in saying, I'm hurting my partner. How can I do better? I'm not present for my kids. I see it. How can I do better? As a woman, I'm obsessed with power at the expense of connection with my husband, with my kids, because I see it too. The women become like the men. The very thing they wanting to fight against or contest against, you become that thing. Yeah. And that father wound in adulthood is more detrimental than the mother wound.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense completely. But can you give us an example of what is a father wounded person, as a woman and as a man?
Okay. So me, for example, I'll always use me because I'm ground zero, the test specimen. And my father wound was very strong. No judgment to my father. I love him with the respect and the reverence I never ever had in my life.
Thank you for talking about him.
I love him. He brought me things that I couldn't accept and acknowledge until I grew to a certain awareness. But the father wound was there. And when I became let's discard growing up when we're vulnerable and malleable and easily programmed. When I became an adult, at which point it is your responsibility. No matter what your mother's done, no matter what your father's done, at 26, more or less, spiritually, physically, biologically, you're an adult. And at this point, it is your responsibility to mend and heal whatever was or wasn't done to you. I'm not a fan of the victim mindset, and this is me speaking like truth to power. So I didn't have a strong, or not strong, but a healed, healthy masculine. And so I wasn't able to take responsibility for being inauthentic with you as a woman. So I liked you, you liked me. I didn't really want to connect with you, but because you were giving me love, you were giving me attention, I took it and not able to say, sorry, Maria, I don't want to go further with you because I just like our dynamic. I would use you to feed my own wounding. And the healthy masculine says, I will nurture you, I'll support you, I'll protect you, but here's the boundary. Does it make sense? I would go into work. So I worked in leadership roles in aviation. My ego was driving me. I needed to be the best. It wasn't easy to take feedback. It wasn't easy to be criticized. I was criticized as a child. It wasn't easy as an adult because the wound was bleeding. So when I got criticized, I became abrasive. I became challenging, defensive. Thank you. You see? So that was the wounded masculine in me. Now that it's healing, I can take feedback. I can take criticism, and I can hold you as a client, as a friend, as a partner. My kids, they give me feedback, and sometimes it's like,
little girls.
And my oldest will make eye contact and we stare down each other like, don't break Lindsay, she's going to beat you. But it's important to sit, because before I would block it. Yeah. Because then each person is bringing awareness to what you are suffering with. And if you block that, you don't heal that. Yeah. And in the women, you see the wounded masculine in the, I don't need a man. I want power. I want, there's nothing wrong with it. The intention is powerful. Why do you want it? Yeah. What is it doing for you? Right? Are you wanting it to compensate for the father who didn't see you, the father who didn't love you, the father who wasn't present, the father who abandoned you? Because that is very nourishing for that. The masculine is the power, right? Yeah. The woman is the nurturer. You come together, you have this beautiful growth. But when a feminine says to me, I want a leadership role, I'm like, okay, but why? What is it really going to do for you, and at what expense? And when you go deeper, you see that it's trying to compensate for that masculine that wasn't supplied healthily from a child. Does that make sense?
Many things that we need to heal and work in ourselves.
But we got to start. We got to start, especially if you're in a position of authority, especially a woman and a man. Yeah. If we don't start healing this divide, this thing in me that's eating at me that I use against you, I'm just going to make it worse. And just to end this point before we go to the next question, I'm so blessed to have a client who's now got Alzheimer's. And the family is so kind to me that they ask me to still support him even though he's going down. So I go to the home twice a week to sit with him. There's still some coaching, but it's more emotional support. And you get to see the consequences of this thing that I'm saying we need to heal. Because when it doesn't, when it manifests into illness, it's so not good.
Yeah, it's so many consequences to don't start working in yourself on time.
We're not taught to future project. We're taught to use the past, right? Most of us, oh, I got a broken heart. Oh, I got fired. So now I have to be defense mode. I'm going to make sure I'm on the attack, or I'm going to become a victim. The past is meant to teach you to be better, not teach you to become more defensive. It's not supposed to feed your pain. It's supposed to liberate you from it. And we're not taught how to do that. And that's very important to understand too. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And of course, I mean, this could be a very, very long podcast, and I don't want it to really cut it because you have been saying very interesting things. And one of the things that I know you are doing is healing through the language of your body. And I will love you to let us know, even if it is just a little bit, how we can use our body to heal, because this is going to be kind of just the demonstration that can be fixed. Because the thing is, when we are feeling trapped in ourselves and said, yeah, I am in this way and that's it. I mean, I will not going to change, and I am like that. But how that is really diminishing the opportunities, the time that we can really enjoy life. So how we can really start healing that, first by being aware that exists.
Awareness, yes.
Right? And second, how we listening to our body in order to know what is the problem.
I love your questions. So from the somatic understanding, so yes, I'm reading a book called In Search of Being, The Fourth State of Consciousness. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful in that it expresses that this spiritual intelligence is the superior intelligence. It's the one that knows more than the mind. It goes through the body. The body is the second stage of intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. Because the body will tell you. You can say, a lot of people in my work, how are you feeling today? Oh, I'm fine. And the body is saying, I'm not, right? The body is exactly right. And or their health, you know, they say I'm good. They're pushing on in life, and their health, their addictions, their inability to put the alcohol down, and you see that, okay, there's something deeper that's saying I'm not good, because if you're able to read, why would you intoxicate yourself with something that's not good for you? It's a form of self-harm, right? And this is the intelligence saying something is happening that I don't want. And then we go into the mind, which is the lowest form of intelligence. And yet we use it the most. The mind only knows what's put in, right? You only know what you learned at school and at university. You can't know more till you learn more. But this other intelligence knows way more because it operates on its own. It doesn't need you to tell it what to do. And it's asking the mind to understand the body, and through the body to understand the intelligence. So something that people can become conscious of in understanding, okay, what's happening to me? What am I doing that is bringing awareness to what is not in me, is just the alcohol alone. Why do you need it? I'm a big advocate against it now, because I used to use it as an escape, but it's toxic, it's poisonous, but yet we use it as a way to cope, and we think that it's one glass. But one glass, if Philippe had to slap you once a week, you'd be like, it's only once a week, right? But you see, no, to give a huge, powerful analogy, you see, that's exactly the same thing. But because we've normalized it, it's normal. But it's huge because it's not a good thing. But because we've normalized it in society, it's like, okay, I'll just keep slapping myself in the face and abusing myself and think it's okay. Our thought patterns, your body language, huge sign of where you stand in yourself. You see people with shoulders hunched, right? Protecting the heart. A hunched shoulder, as soon as the shoulders are going over, as soon as these two are pointing in, I'm protecting this. As we know, in any life-threatening situation, you go into the fetal position, right? Because you protect the most sensitive parts, right? So most people, either when your stomach is too big, you're protecting the vital organs because there's a pain here, or when your body posture is saying, I can't open my heart because it's too vulnerable for me, I'm too scared. So your body And the things you take in will tell you, okay, something is not okay. And this intelligence is always looking for liberation. And say to people, there's so many people I know that do yoga, do meditation, do breath work, they go to the gym, but this thing is still not good. So those things become an even stronger coping mechanism, right? Because they still have the harmful thought patterns. They still have the dysfunctional relationships. They still themselves when they finish their practice. Who do you see when you look in the mirror? How do you feel about your parents? If they weren't your parents, would you call them as often as you do? Or if you don't speak to them, are you able to pick up the phone and say, I love you for no reason, regardless of the response? Your body will have a response to the questions. And there's huge information that comes back from all your environment. And if we're not using it, we're neglecting ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we wait for you to leave me. And now see typical women, they, I take advantage of people lesser than me because I have power. I'm in a position of authority. But all the time I am doing wrong to you, I'm hurting me 10 times more. It doesn't work any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. And, is now that you mentioned this coping mechanism through the alcohol, Philip and I have been stopping drinking for the last 2 months. Not because we decide to change our life and that was, but because how we was using alcohol, because it was socially accepted that on Friday you need to go and celebrate and drink some beers and some wine. Um, when we realize that, we start to challenge ourselves. We really need to celebrate, put it in our bodies. And I have been doing a lot of studies and things around and research, sorry, about what the alcohol is doing to my body. And then Philip as well started realizing how that was put it to him in a different stage of health. And then we realized that we, in certain ways, socially accepted putting that as a part of a coping mechanism because we were stressed, because we need to deliver or whatever. So it's part of how our society as well is accepting something that is harming you and not giving to you the opportunity to realize, well, yeah, well, I have been putting a lot of weight on, but no idea. I am just drinking every day, but one glass, that's not a problem. And then it's growing and growing and growing. So I think that for our listeners, I think is a very good thing to be aware about the things that you are doing, how you are doing, and what are the actions that you can take to start looking a little bit more into yourself and getting actions to change what is happening with you today.
I admire you both for doing that. And for me, hearing you share that, that's your spiritual intelligence telling you, I want better for me. So the mind starts to read, but it's that intelligence saying, I need liberation from the reason why I'm taking this substance in the first place.
Yeah.
And I will say to the listeners, you can avoid using your environment, your relationships, your emotions, your body. You can avoid what they're trying to tell you, but there's no escaping the consequences of it. So you either can take powerful responsibility to start being honest about yourself and do something about it, or you can ignore it. But either way, you're going to have consequences. There's no avoiding it. You can't say, "Oh, I'll just continue and it'll be fine." Each moment you're not taking care of yourself to be better, to liberate yourself from your suffering, to heal that wounded masculine that's causing you to be whatever it is that's not serving you and humanity, you're neglecting yourself. And that self-neglect, you see it in relationships. If Philippe was neglecting you every day, at some point you would feel like, what's here?
Yeah.
I don't love you. I don't feel for you. I'm angry with you. I resent you. And we're doing that to us on a moment by moment basis, to ourselves. We're hurting that relationship with ourselves each time we do something. And this is not to say live like a monk or start becoming a priest. This is just to say, how can you be better with you so that whatever position in life you're in, you are coming from a place of love. I used to think love was something so soft. I was always all about love. I was like, oh man, you're too soft. But I really believe, Maria, that love is one of the hardest things to cultivate.
Oh, well, it is. It is clearly. I mean,
We think it's love when I love you because you tick all the boxes. I met you on Tinder and I met you in the park. It's not love if you can't love you at your worst and love your partner at your worst. not to condone bad behavior, not to condone things that are not right, but to say, can I generate love at my worst? And most of us don't know that because we weren't loved at our worst.
Yeah.
We were treated badly at our worst. We were neglected at our worst. We expected to do better at our worst. And our society is struggling because we believe we only if we tick the boxes, only if I'm good, only if I show up this way, only if I get the promotion, then I get the validation, then I'm loved. That's what love looks like. Love looks like a reward. But I don't agree anymore.
No, no, me neither. And is love start by ourselves. And as you well said, and you share, it's a very wise way to see what loves mean. And even sometimes you need to learn what is love means. That is my story of my love story with my husband. He's like that. I have to learn what loves mean because he taught me about that.
Can I just give you something maybe for the listeners? So language, as we spoke before we started this lovely discussion today, language is very powerful. If you use the words, I have to, here's the somatic expression. You have to have that deadline. You have to do what I say.
Yeah.
Do you feel accepted? Do you feel free? Do you feel in a place of creativity? And no, it causes you to close, right? And so I choose from today to go understand me better. I choose to go learn how to love my suffering, how to love the people that hurt me, that betrayed me, that lied to me, that let me down, that abandoned me. I choose to love them in my body, because then you liberate that thing. You liberate that pain, because we think that just because, well, I broke up with you or you're not my boss anymore, I'm going to move on. But every time I remember Maria, oh man, she was a mean boss. What's happening in my body?
Yeah.
My somatic expression will be exactly the same as that moment in the office where you fired me. I'll carry the same energy, and it's multiplying and it's growing. And then I only need to remember that it's still there. And there comes a time when you remember your mother, you remember your father, you remember that boyfriend, that girlfriend, that boss, that colleague that did something in your perception that was bad, and you feel love for them. Then you know you've healed something in your body, and you're in a much more healthy, healed, loving space.
I love that.
Do you see it? So I choose,
Yeah.
please, babe, I choose to work on myself.
Yeah.
Whatever position in life you're in, whoever you're leading, whoever you're taking care of, your partner, your kids, how can I love the pain that I see in them because it's in me?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I'm not condoning bad behavior. I'm not condoning mobbing because there's a big epidemic in that too. But if we don't come from a place of, I teach this a lot in my work, if you cannot be in a place of love when I'm confronting my enemy, then you're the same as your enemy.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're no different. Then it's not easy to judge you because now you're angry and I become angry. What's the difference?
Yeah, and if you use love, probably you are not going to see enemies as well. Isn't
And
it?
no one is really, yes, that's very spiritual. Maybe it is no enemies, right? It's our perception because they bring awareness to the fact that,
exactly.
So
that could be a very long conversation. I just wanted to start to wrap up.
Absolutely.
Just the last question, Lindsay. I have been talking about the invisible brand. The invisible brand actually is something that you don't say, but people perceive about you. You was talking about when you asked someone, how are you? And this person said, I'm okay. So related with those masks that we wear, how do you think people and yourself can build and work in this invisible brand that we already have?
So you're asking how people can or I can?
Both. Starting by yourself, it would be
Okay.
a good example because sometimes, and I ask in this way because sometimes it's more easier when you put it in other people and you say, well, others can do that. I am not going to do that.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not at all. No. I take my own medicine as much as I can, and it's not sometimes nice, but my invisible brand.
Your invisible brand is that thing that you make people feel. What do people feel when they see you?
I mean, it's love. I hug, I smile, it's my most powerful emotion. My heart I work on heart opening the heart. And so for me, that is, I'm learning how to love even the worst in me that I see in people. it makes me super, super powerful in my own way. I don't challenge myself in relation to you or Philippe or that other coach. My journey is mine. How can I be better in me today? And one of the hardest things to do is to love the parts of me that I see in you, because I judge those and I don't want to see them or deal with them. So I blame you for them. So my invisible brand, and I'm going to work on this more, is open arms. I walk around with open arms and I want to do more, because it's not easy, especially when somebody doesn't want and you feel that rejection. But it's that rejection that teaches you how to open more rather than close. So my invisible brand is love. Not in the mushy, soft sense and romantic sense, but in the most powerful healing sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense?
Yeah,
Is it?
well, yeah,
No?
and I love it, and thank you, Lindsay, because this is. I am just seeing how we are not working in our invisible brand. So we are very worried about what we post outside in on LinkedIn or social media, or what we say about ourselves, but never the energy that we put on that. So sometimes we said, yeah, I am the most powerful person or whatever. And deep inside, we are still with this. So that is my topic right now, actually, in all the things that I am delivering right now related with branding, and how I bring that in all the connections that I am building around my purpose of women empowerment.
I love it.
And just to close this and say to you again, thank you for being here. I would love to ask you if you want to say something else in order for us to get it more empowered women, in order to build this unity and that become not just something related with women.
To answer that, when I see what I do with my work, what happens with the women I work with, there is a coming home to that father wound and a liberating it. That even in whatever position you're in, you will bring a different kind of leadership, a more powerful, because the feminine energy is so powerful for healing. And when you heal your masculine and you can balance that, your leadership will go up 100 times. But if you're operating from a wounded masculine, if your relationship with your father is not honestly dealt with, you'll always operate from that pain, and you will see other women, other men as a threat to you, and you will water down your impact. You have a powerful role as a woman. That energy, we need a lot of it, but the pure type, not the type that's masked as, I hate men, I just want power, I don't know how to empathize with you because you're triggering me. I hear a lot of women who are in positions of power, they push down. Men come to me, my boss, who's your boss? It's a man or woman? It's a woman. Please, women, we need you to bring the healthy masculine. As much as the healthy masculine should be coming to heal you, we need to come together. But you cannot lead from a place of wounded masculine. We will not do any good to anybody around us. And it doesn't leave you.
Well, that have been an amazing lessons to learn from you, Lindsay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maria. I loved it. I really loved it. It was so great.
Thank you.
I appreciate your kindness and your offering me to sit with you. And yeah, I hope it brings something to the women out there.
Yeah, people can find you.
I'm happy. I'm really to challenge me, agree with me or not. I prefer disagreement because I want to grow. So if I miss something, if I don't see something, let's talk. Let's open dialogue. Like we said, let's have a dialogue. If you have a problem with me as a man, as a patriarchy, as whatever it is, rather we learn to dialogue. I don't like this cult thing of me versus you. Let's come together. Yeah. Let's talk. Let's explain. Let's have some angry moments, because there's healing in that, and we meet each other with love.
It's healing, and actually we don't grow in comfort. So keep this in mind. And I have this conversation with Philip this morning about we don't grow in comfort. So get it a little bit discomfort and grow.
Reach out. Let's have a debate. Let's have a dialogue and push me and I'll love you. And we see what comes from that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck on your journeys. And Maria, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm grateful by having you as a listener on this episode. I am in the mission of empowering thousands of women around the globe, and I need your support for that. help me to spread the voice by sharing this episode and subscribe to our social media channels. And remember, if you want to listen to exceptional stories and have someone that inspires you, please get in touch with me because I would love to have them as a guest to learn from their experience and share their story with you next time. So until the next episode, ciao ciao.